Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here with block number 12 for our Quilt Block of the Month series. I cannot believe we are at the end of this series. If you're not familiar with this series, I have a playlist link in the description of this video and also on the end screen. Go watch all the episodes and get caught up. We are doing a tree this month. Not necessarily a Christmas tree, just a pine tree in the woods. That's how I'm looking at it. I didn't want anything too holiday on these blocks. And I decided I'm going to use this. I didn't even really want green. I wanted to just do something bizarre. But I'm going with this because it looks like snowballs on the tree. And I'm going to, I think, use this gray fabric with little tiny dots because that could be snow falling from the sky. And gray, a gray day. You know I love a gray day. I still love a gray day. Part 1 is going to be making the tree block. You do not have to make this block. At the end, when I know how big it's going to be, all you'll need to do is cut a piece of fabric that size. Or you could use a block you've already made and make it fit to whatever size you need, but you don't have to do the tree. Part 2 will be putting that tree block or whatever block you decide to use in with the rest of the pieces to make the finished block. And then part 3 will be me showing you the big stitch quilting that I did. I've been doing all the blocks the same. And then I expect to have a final wrap up. I'll be explaining in part 3, just how to finish putting all your pieces together, but I'm still undecided as to what I'm going to do for a border, if anything at all. I might just go around and do the snipping like we do, but I'll have a wrap up, showing pictures of mine all put together and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to get started, and like I said, I'm going to cut a piece here, and then I'm going to show you how we're cutting the point of the tree. Now, I did a practice piece, but I want to make some changes, only I did not want to make another whole practice piece. So I'm going to be making changes as we go, and I hope that works out for us, right? If not, then all this footage will be trashed, and I'll be starting over. I'm going to cut a piece 4 inches wide by 6 inches tall. So this is what I have, and I'll show it to you as though you're looking at it. 4 inches wide, 6 inches tall. Not have to have it like I'm looking at it. I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to just pinch right here to find my center. And now I'm going to cut it like this. I'm going to cut from this corner to the little center crease. Or if you want, you don't have to make the crease, because if you just put it down on your mat, we have 4 inches, so this line is the center line. So you're going to cut from this corner to that center line. So you're going to cut here and 2 inches over. I think my focus keeps going in and out. I don't know. And, don't worry about having to be perfect on this. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to the corner, and now I'm going to the point of the tree, like that. And now I have a tree like this. Now I need to figure out how big of a piece I need for my background. Hang on. I cut an 8-inch square. I hope this works. I'm putting it down so I can see my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want to lay down my little tree here in the center-ish. So I have 2 inches here, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. And then the tree goes in these 4 center squares, like that. Okay? And you can see your point is aiming toward the line. Let me show it to you this way. That's what you've got going on. See? 4 center spaces is where your tree goes. And then you have 2 inches here and 2 inches here. Now I'm going to cut by following the edge of the tree. That's why I wanted you to just be able to see this. So I'm putting my ruler along the edge of that tree. And I'm going to cut all the way up. Like that. If you cut a little bit of your tree, don't worry about it. Let's pull that aside. Don't move your tree, but you can move your mat if you want. Now I'm going to put my ruler here, like right up against the tree. At this point, I can take the tree off if I want, if I'm afraid to cut it. And I'm going to cut like that. Now this guy can be the beginning of another tree block. I have a video, I'll link to it down below, where you can do a stack and whack tree, and you could do as many layers as you want. I can't remember how many I did in that video, I think just 2, and then you swap out the pieces. It's kind of like this, only I didn't feel like doing the whole stack and whack for this video. Now we're going to start sewing. And we're going to start by doing this piece here, because this was the first cut, so that will be the final sew. Don't be overly fussy. I have given us much wiggle room, but you're just going to lay this down like that. Don't worry if you're right up against the corner or not. We will be doing some trimming, so don't worry about it. I've got it so the point is there, and I'm just going to hop on here, and when you hop on, you know, you're going 1/4 inch in, so you're not, you know, going to start sewing on the tree fabric. Where are you? You're somewhere. I'm going to start more like up here. I'm going to draw the line to show you. Oh, but this is going to be my block for the quilt, so I better use pencil. I'm going 1/4 inch in. Let me get this straight. Just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. I'm going to sew on that line. So what I've done is I've taken my edge and I've put it on a line. Actually, I put it like on a dotted line. But then I'm going 1/4 inch in. And then you can see where you're supposed to start sewing. See the line? It goes all the way up to here. That's where you're going to hop on. Not down here somewhere. I'll be right back and I'll show you what it looks like stitched. See how the stitch line started way up there? And then went all the way down. Now you're going to go press that open. And now we're going to trim, but I'm trimming just the side of the tree. We're not trimming the top or bottom at all. We want the top and bottom there. And the easiest way to do it is to follow the line of your tree. Just put your ruler all along your tree and then just continue to cut up like that. So you have this now, nice straight edge. And we're going to go put this here. I just like to leave a little bit sticking out on each end. And if you want, once again, you can put this on a line. I'm on a line, so I'm going 1/4 inch, and I'm going to draw my stitch line right there. And it will show you where to hop on and hop off. This is what we have, and my bottom is very uneven. That's expected, and my top is very straight, even. I don't know how I did that, but it doesn't have to be. It can be very off because we're going to be trimming. I don't know how much of that I want to keep. I start big and then I trim. And you are always allowed to draw a line if you want. If you want to sew on the 1/4 inch, but you can see that's where we hopped on and where we hopped off. Especially for a beginner, I don't even know what I'm showing you there. You know, it's okay to draw lines and to sew on lines and stuff like that. I am going to straighten the bottom now because we are going to be putting the tree trunk. So I'm just going to follow the bottom of the tree. I have a nice even bottom now. Let's put that aside. Let's go back to the background. That's all you need for this piece is some background and the tree and then your trunk. I'm going to cut generous again. We started with this 8 inches wide. I want to start wider. I want to be wider than this because again, wiggle room. We like wiggle room. So I'm going to cut my strip. See, this is the part you don't usually see me doing because I'm at the sewing machine. But I'm going to cut a good inch. And we will have more space because we're putting a trunk there. And I'm going to cut a strip 2.5 inches. My practice was 2 inches and I didn't like that. Didn't give enough wiggle room for my liking. So my strip is 2 inches this way and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not quite 9 inches. You can do 9 inches if you want. So this way to you. 9 inches wide by 2.5 inches tall. I don't know if that's what I said before, but that's what I meant. And then cut that somewhere in the center, right here for me. And we're going to put the little tree trunk there. And, ooh, is that gonna fit? That's gonna fit perfectly. So I want my tree trunk to be, I'm gonna say 1 inch wide. It'll get smaller because of the seam allowances. And I'm going to do 2.5 inches tall. Ideally, I like it to stick out more than my background, but we're trimming anyway. So this is your trunk, 1 inch wide, 2.5-ish inches tall. And I'm going to sew it between these two pieces. And I'm going to do 1/4 inch, so we'll end up with about 1/2 inch wide trunk. I'm going to sew these 3 pieces together. I sewed it and I pressed it. I haven't trimmed it yet, but see, this is what we're going to be doing. That's why I like to have my piece longer. If you cut the exact same size, you may be short. You don't want that. This we can move all around, and you know, I like it right there. I'm pretty straight, but let me just trim a tiny little bit. And my trunk is about 1/2 inch. I like that. And when I cut an inch strip and I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, that means both seam allowances on the back side are 1/4 inch, and you can nicely fold those in and they'll fit because 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch is 1/2 inch. See how nice that is? You don't have to do that. You can fold them out, press them out if you want. You can press one in, one out. There's no rules. So I like it there, and you know, just trim both your pieces so that you have straight lines. And I don't have to pin or anything because I don't care if it's right in the center or not. And you can hop on this way if you want, or you can do the back side. I'm going to sew on the back side. This is what we have. And here's where I get to decide how big I want this. And like I said before, you don't get to see that process. So I like showing you how I do things and then how I figure out what I want at the end. Now at this point, even if we trim this differently, like let's say mine came out to like 7 by 8, I don't know, I'm making numbers up, but yours was a little off. We still have wiggle room with the black border around it. But in this case, I think we're going to be able to all trim down to the same size. Now this is a very long trunk, but we're going to trim, and then we are also going to maybe cut it a little shorter. I don't know, but we're always going to remember that we're going to lose 1/4 inch. Let's start by trimming the sides. Now, I can see that mine is like 7 inches. In case yours is smaller than mine, I would like us to be able to all trim to 6 inches wide. So here's how I do that. This is the easiest way. So my trunk is centered on a line. My point is pretty much pointing to the line up here. So if I want to cut it to 6 inches, that's 3 on each side of this line. So I would count 1, 2, 3, and this is the line I'm going to trim on. Because 3 plus 3 is 6. So 3 on this side, 3 on that side. I think I will like that. Now I'm going to count 3 inches this way. This is my line. So 1, 2, 3. And that's the line I'm going to cut on. Hope that made sense to you. You can have your tree trunk as long as you want. But here's what I'm going to do. See the line that we have here where we attached it to, the trunk to the tree? I'm putting that line on a line, and I'm going to cut 1.5 this way. We have 6 this way. Let's see, I could cut to 8 this way. I like that. So once you figure out where you want to cut your trunk, mine is 1.5 inches from that sewing line, then count up to 8 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's where you're going to cut. So this piece is 6 wide by 8 tall. And now we're going to add the black border. We should have all been able to get down to that size. And I like it. Let me show you the other one that I made as a practice piece. It looks like this. I almost think I would have liked a wider trunk, but I don't know. But I definitely wanted a taller tree. So I like that. And it came out good. And this was just white background. It was just a practice. Let me go get my 2-inch strips and I'll be right back. And once again, just so you can watch the process, I have my black strips. I usually do side, side, and then top, bottom. But I'm so excited about almost being done this series. And I lost my mind. It doesn't matter. Top, bottom, and then I'll do side, side. So what I do is, because I know I have a nice clean edge here, I'm just going to follow that edge. And I just trim. So let's trim this one. And I'm not cutting the gray while I cut like 2 threads. Now I'm just going to do the 2 sides and we will be done this block. Now we have this, and once again, I'm going to trim to a number that hopefully we all can get. So if this piece wasn't 6 by 8 like mine was, that's okay. You still have another chance to get this to whatever size we want. And I don't know yet, so I'm just looking. Let me start by just evening this out, and then I can see better. See my lines better. I'm just getting these off. Okay, I'm going to go for 8 wide. And again, I'm doing my simple little trick. It's not, going to mean it's perfect. See, if I put my ruler here, and I go from this line to this line, I can kind of like go through the center of the tree. I'm not right on the center of the point, but I'm okay. That's good enough. Now do not accidentally cut while you're doing this. That's pretty good. So that's my center. I'm going to do an 8-inch block. So we need 4 this way, 4 that way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to trim right here. And then on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to trim. Now let's see what I can get here. Another way you can find your center is just fold it and press here and here. And I can put that on a line. Easy as that. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that would work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's going to end up being 8 by 10. So here's my center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where did I get the number 5? Half of 10 is 5. So I want 5 on each side of the center. And that's nice. It's, the borders are about the same size. Here's my center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we have it. and it's thready. I'll clean that up. I'm not thrilled with my gray background, but I do think it looks better in person. I wish the dots would have been a little bit bigger, but I do like the gray day. Maybe my trunk is a little tall, I don't know, but I like it. And it's a process, you know, when you're just making up your own rules, which are really basically no rules. But I like it very much. So if you don't want to make this, you just need any piece of fabric or a block that you've made that is 8 inches wide by 10 inches tall. It will fit into the puzzle that we're going to put together in part 2. I think I'm going to like this setup once I'm used to it, so I can show you some fun cutting things that we can do. There's a lot more coming up next year, so please subscribe. And part 2 will be out in a day or two. And then part 3, we will do this big stitch quilting. I'll show you the big stitch quilting. I'll already have it done. And then we're going to just put this whole thing together and call it a day. It's been quite the series. I stressed out over it for an entire year. I will be doing more series next year. I will be doing series that don't stress me out. So you want to stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye.